Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Jeff with Fluent American checking in. I'm making a quick video now because between being a little sick and also a couple things that came up, I haven't had time to make a full produced video, but I still wanted to provide some content for today. And this is going to complement the S and Z video I recently posted. That video compared sounds like hiss and his, where a lot of times students don't pronounce the Z sound at the ends of words that actually use a Z sound very often. So that video will give you some more practice on that, but I wanted to go over more of the information, the rules, the guidelines for when do you use an S sound at the end of words and when do you use a Z sound or a Z sound. S and Z in terms of pronunciation are very similar, the same mouth position. The tip of your tongue here is going to make contact with the top of your mouth behind your top tooth where it meets the gum. So basically the tip of your tongue goes up and presses, and if your throat vibrates, if you feel your throat move, it makes a Z sound, Z. And if your throat does not vibrate, it makes an S sound, or S, S. Now, when do we know where to use an S or a Z at the end of a word? Well, it depends on the sounds that come before the S. Let's take a look at our first group. You'll see that column that says 1 with like books. Notice that before the S, there's a K sound for book. K. This is a voiceless sound. K. There's no vibration in your throat. Book. No movement. So because of that situation, it's going to sound like the letter S. So books, books. The S is voiceless, and also the K is voiceless as well. So that's going to sound like books. We see that as well in the second word, sits, sits. The T sound, t, t, is voiceless, so the S will be voiceless too. Sits, sits. Taking a look at our second group, these are going to be letters that are voiced, so your throat will vibrate. For instance, the first word, roars. Notice that R is voiced, so roar, roar, you should feel your throat vibrate right there. So that's voiced, so that means that when you say roars, the S will be voiced, so that S will sound like a Z. Roars, roars. The last one, loads, loads. The word load. The D is a voice sound, D. Load. Your throat will vibrate, so that means the S will vibrate. Loads, loads. Some common words that I think will be helpful for this, and I'll add them to the comments, are words like, for instance, is. Is a word that will typically have a Z sound. Same thing with was. Was, that's another word that will commonly have a Z sound. Another one, because. Because, that is also going to have a Z sound. Also pay attention to word and word ends on an ES. So for instance, like here, I'll add it in the comments, Mrs. Mrs. The is going to have a slight Z sound. Also another similar word to that would be like boxes, boxes. And lastly, a word from our last video would be the word his, his. That's going to have a Z sound. And our final word for today, these, and also those are going to have slight Z sounds. So again, this is a way that you can test and see if a word is going to end on a Z sound or a S sound. Pay attention to the letters before it. If the letter before it is voiced, or if the sound before it is voiced, then the S will be voiced as well. Thank you guys so much for your time. Be sure to check out the full S and Z video that we have comparing hiss and his and many other words. And we'll see you in our next video. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good